Rogan Report podcast. Check it out.
All things Joe Rogan by day. Rogan Report podcast by night. All day. All night. Half hour to an hour-ish episodes once a week.
The Rogan Report podcast.
All right, Shane, welcome to your living room and episode 37 of the Rogan Report.
Yeah, man.
You know, maybe we should change that intro there, that half-hour episodes once a week. Once a week part could be, could be edited.
Yeah.
Half-hour to an hour-ish episodes once a week in times when we are not as busy as we have been over the summer.
Maybe we should look at doing a new intro.
Yeah, or maybe we should just look at I don't know. I like the idea of doing like seasons during actual seasons. And like, you know, that's one thing about my other podcast, the Hijacked Headspace. We have been not doing it. And, you know, we all get busy in the summer and we recognize, hey, you know, it's tough to do a weekly episode now.
It's actually a good time to take it off.
Yeah, totally. And then, you know, you get into September-ish time and it's like, all right, no, a little more present, a little more time. Could maybe do a few more. So you will see us pick up in the episodes here, listeners. Thanks for sticking with us and hanging out. It's been awesome to talk to you guys. And this week on the table of contents here, we'll just go over some of the things we're going to talk about. Bill Burr's new special, which I loved and you loved.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people did not love.
I fucking love that they didn't love it, too.
My trip to Canmore, which you guys I'm sure are eager to find out of where I stayed and what I thought of Canmore. Spoiler alert, I love it. And recent news stories, JRE 1344, Joseph Ledoux, and JRE 1351, Dan Aykroyd. And UFC 242, as well as a little bit of the China fight night that was just before it.
Yeah.
And, so that's our table of contents. Starting with right off the topic, Bill Burr. I fucking love that guy.
Fuck, man. What a great special, hey?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Somebody on my Facebook feed posted, there's no jokes in Bill Burr's new special. It's more like a speech. It's like,
what do you mean?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I was laughing the whole time.
There's tons of jokes.
Yeah.
I started watching it with my girlfriend last night, and about 20 minutes in, I had to turn it off because she's making comments. This isn't funny.
Yeah?
He hates women. And I'm like,
No,
okay.
you don't get it.
Yeah, I'm like, he's making a joke. This is not how he actually feels. But also, yes, sometimes white women who complain and are super offended by things need to be, I don't know, made fun of at least.
Yeah.
They need to be pissed off. And, you know, either it's all okay or none of it is. You know,
exactly.
that's what I've always said about free speech. And
man, it's comedy. This is what they're supposed to do.
Time and a place. You know, if he was, his idea to just drive by a women's march and shout out the window. Spoilers, I guess. One of his jokes is he loves pissing white women off so much, and he wants to drive by like a women's rally and just shout out the most offensive, sexist thing he can think of, which is, hey, get the fuck back in the fucking kitchen where you belong, you fucking bitches, and then drive off and then watch them all freak out. And his reference to one of them spinning around like Leatherface at the end of Chainsaw Massacre, just turning around in circles. I thought that was a great reference.
Fucking hilarious, man.
And
I love how he baits you. He baits the crowd into being like, "Oh, he's gonna make a really nice PC point," and then he'll like stop me, like, "You're not gonna like this, ladies."
Yeah.
And then I love Bill Burr, man. He's so fucking funny.
He is great, and but he also acknowledges, like, "Hey, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. I'm super, you know, like I'm doing everything really well. My personality, I'm kind of a bastard. And
everything I do is great. All I have to change is who I am inside."
Kind of angry, kind of an angry fucker, and you know, he just, you know, acknowledges it and owns it.
I listen to his podcast semi-regularly. I catch up every now and then.
Right.
He's been ongoing problems with anger management with his wife, and it's always a topic on the show constantly.
Yeah, it's a theme in his life. And,
I mean,
just like his show that he, you know, if you watch his show, you know, Bill is one of the kids.
Oh, F is for family.
F is for family. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sure when he's writing his dad, he's also like kind of just as much writing himself.
Totally.
As a dad.
No, I mean, I'm seeing Bill Burr when I hear his dad in the show talk.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, me too.
That's a great show too, man.
Great show. One of the best animated, probably in my top 10 favorite animated series.
Yeah. And it doesn't, it's not just straight slapstick comedy shit either. Like, it gets real.
There's some heartwarming
pretty nice.
moments, and it's like,
Yeah, totally. Another one, I guess, is the Dave Chappelle. I haven't seen it yet, but this is like some major backlash on the internet.
Yeah.
about
People
it.
angry at Dave Chappelle for being homophobic, and I don't know.
I mean, have you seen his other specials?
Yeah.
His last one was pretty well the same, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. People were mad about the last one too. I remember hearing stuff, and my friend Sterling actually made a good point. He posted on his Facebook. He's like, comedians that I forget how did he word it. It was like comedians that didn't like the latest specials have like terrible work themselves.
Yeah,
You know, like they don't have. It's not like they have good specials that they're putting out and then criticizing. It's like their content is shit, and then they're criticizing Bill Burr, who's arguably one of the best of all time.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
So yeah, I did see some people. I'm like, people that were complaining about it, and I immediately judged them.
So before I saw that special, he was talking a lot about how like the cinematography was just beautiful, like the work done on the actual recording of it. And I saw that for sure watching it.
Yeah.
Just amazing work. Some of the shots that you see of Bill Burr, like some of the angles, they're just not the usual stand-up shots.
Yeah.
Like kind of back into the side. And
yeah, I thought it was well
very
shot,
artistic.
but I didn't, I wasn't distracted by bad shooting. And I think that's the worst thing. I wasn't really focusing on it. I was just focusing on.
Yeah, I guess a
on the
well-shot
comedy.
special, that's what you're focusing on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, it was pretty good. Maybe I'll rewatch it and try to pay more attention to some of that stuff.
Well, I mean, like I said, he mentioned it so ahead of time. Right before I watched it, I think I listened to one of his podcasts.
Right on.
Yeah.
Why don't you jump into some recent news stories? Let's go to that.
Sure, let's do it. So recently, in the last few weeks, there's been Hurricane Dorian,
Sure.
which really fucked up the Bahamas,
Yeah.
big time. Dragged
And
its
much of the East Coast. My
swath
girlfriend's.
up the East Coast and into Newfoundland, and
Yeah.
all the way up to Newfoundland, actually.
Yeah. I saw
Caused
pictures
havoc.
of storefronts in Newfoundland that were like flooded up to your knees.
What's
essentially.
interesting, usually you'd think that the West Coast would be kind of the safer part of that, but that's not the way the hurricane rode up the coast like that.
Yeah.
Usually you'd think the east coast of Newfoundland, which is out facing the wide sea there,
Yeah, should take more. beating.
and usually does.
Yeah.
But places that weren't prepared for hurricanes. Terribly hit was the Cavendish campground in Nova Scotia had to close for the rest of the year.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Cavendish?
Cavendish.
I've
maybe.
always said Cavendish.
I always read things differently than
they do. They
are.
make they're the big potato farmers.
Is that
Cavendish.
what? Oh,
Cavendish
yeah.
Farms.
Cavendish fries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's terrible. Lots of damage. Fucking $7 billion worth of damage to the Bahamas. 50 people dead. 1,300 still missing.
That sucks for sure.
Just today, another fucking tropical storm rolled through there and smashed them with some rain.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I often wonder, like, these things, they're terrible tragedies and it sucks that they happen. But now, is there a lot of work for people on the East Coast who have been out of work that they can
To now rebuild.
get back to doing some labor?
I should think, yeah.
I don't know. But like obviously that still has to be paid for.
I mean,
so,
it devastates the people that lose their homes, obviously.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
the Bahamas looks like an apocalypse.
Yeah,
It really fucked up the Bahamas.
they got it a lot worse.
Yeah.
There was a quiz show. The question was it was Cash Cab I was watching, and there was a Bahamas question, and I forget what it was. I didn't know the answer.
Yeah. I don't know much about it either.
It was like the capital. It was like this capital of an American whatever colony or whatever they call those American. What are they called? It's like it's not a state, but it's like
It's not a territory. That's what we do here.
it's something like a territory.
But it's that. It's like that. Same with like Puerto Rico, right?
yeah,
It's not a state, but
yeah,
it's
they're whatever they are.
they own it.
So they said the capital, and I can't even remember what the capital of it is now. But they're like, Wilson is the capital of this U.S. blah blah blah, and the people in the Cash Cab were like, fuck, I have no idea. I've never heard of Wilson or
Yeah.
whatever the name was. And then it was like the Bahamas, and they were like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even really know that was one of those U.S. states.
No, it totally
Bahamas
didn't.
could have easily just been its own country to me.
Weren't we supposed to grab up something like Turks and Caicos was supposed to be part of Canada there
Yeah.
for a while?
We should get some
That'd be
of
so
those.
badass, man.
Yeah, we do need some kind of like tropical area for Canada,
Totally.
and we should get Alaska back too because
This would be so popular.
Alaska
People love
is
Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
enough of Alaska being part of the states. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Really stupid.
Anyways.
Moving on. If you're a huge nerd like me,
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy VII, which if you're a huge nerd like me, you know,
Okay.
that's like the fucking best Final Fantasy game ever made.
Oh.
From back in 1995 on the original PlayStation, is
Okay.
being remade for the new PS4, and new trailers are out now with gameplay, and it looks fucking tremendous.
You think there's people out there that will go and buy PS4s just for this game?
You're
People that
sitting
haven't
across
played.
from one.
Yeah.
I'm selling my Xbox One as soon as that game comes out.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never played any of the Final Fantasy games. I played Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Well, I mean, you're in the same ballpark though.
But
There's a new Zelda game coming out on the Switch that's just like Link to the Past.
I
It
saw.
looks fucking sick.
I saw some of it.
Real
Yeah.
cartoony, but so is Link to the Past.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get some of those Link to the Past songs in my head, like regularly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some of that music's classics, man.
Yeah.
Fucking so yeah. Final Fantasy VII first part comes out March 3rd, 2020. My last little
Cool.
bit here is there was a Conor McGregor controversy. I can't remember if we brought this up last time we talked or not, but he punched an old dude in the bar for not partaking of his proper 12.
Right.
So he appeared in an interview to basically talk about this. And from what I'm hearing in the interview, he sounds ready to go. Like he's been training hard. Did we talk about this last time too?
No,
I don't think so.
No, I did hear about. Conor
Did you
punching
watch
the
the
old guy.
interview though?
No, I didn't watch the interview.
Really great. Like hearing the right things. Like he sounds fucking. He wants to be back in there.
Okay. Well, he should stop going around punching old men in the
totes.
bars because that's going to get him.
That was back
It's
in
not-
April though.
Yeah,
This was like
okay.
actually. I mean, not to say that it's okay, but I'm saying this is when his whole spiral was happening.
Okay.
It's kind of part of the same thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But I'm a real Connor dick rider.
Yeah.
And if we can get back in there, get winning again. Funny thing,
Get
right
win and
after
get an eventual rematch with Khabib.
No, I'm jumping ahead here, but we actually just watched those fights.
Yeah, we'll be talking about UFC 242.
But
later
Poirier
on.
called out Connor right after that fight, saying that it makes a lot of sense that they face each other before moving on.
Sure.
And I like that.
Yeah.
They fought
Yeah.
before Connor stopped Poirier, I think, in the second round, maybe
Yeah.
the first round.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the first round because Connor answered back. Poirier said something like, "It makes a lot of sense for us to run it back." And Connor said something like, "I fed you to the fucking canvas in 90 seconds, punk. You fucking put some respect on this McGregor name when you call me out."
That's funny.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. One of the greatest shit talkers. Khabib really, I don't know. Spoiler alert if you don't want to hear Khabib fucking mopped the floor with Poirier. Pretty much fought the perfect fight. Took him down every single time. Well, 5 of the 6 times he tried to.
Yeah.
Or 6 of the 7 times,
Oh,
whatever it was. And then once he had him on the ground, just was never in a bad position.
Yeah.
Even when he was like Poirier tried to get him with a choke at the end, and it was like the whole time I just felt so confident that there's no way that that's gonna work.
Totally. I know.
So, I don't know.
So, I mean, we may as well talk about it now. We're talking about it. Fucking, how do you feel about Poirier's performance compared to Connor's performance? I mean, very
Oh, it's
similar.
Very similar. Yeah.
Do you think that Connor maybe did a little better, though, than Poirier? Connor had him in a little bit more trouble, for sure.
Yeah.
Rocked him a little bit more. Connor lasted longer into the fight. And I think that everyone was a little shocked with Connor's performance against him, but when you compare him against everybody else's performance against Khabib, it's not that fucking crazy.
No, like I was saying, I think that we need to see. I mean, Tony will be
Might
I
be
think
that
probably
unorthodox.
the biggest challenge for Khabib yet, just because of his style. And styles make fights, and you need someone who can be good off their back, and who can really threaten from the ground, and someone who's like a jiu-jitsu master. I think could do well, or a striker that can just somehow stop the takedowns.
Yeah.
An elite striker but they're just. You have to have an elite striker who grew up like wrestling bears, right?
Yeah, totally.
You're just not going to really get that guy, or someone that's just maybe stronger, someone from 170 that can come down.
Yeah.
I
wonder,
don't
though,
feel like
like-
that person is in the UFC right now.
This Tony Khabib fight has been already supposed to happen, I think, 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how different the landscape would be if Tony had taken him out fucking
Early?
4 fights ago when they were supposed to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We'd be definitely in a different.
Khabib probably never would have got to that title shot because nobody wanted him having that title shot because it took him forever to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if
I
he
do.
lost to Tony like 5 fights ago, there's no way he'd be where he is. So
Yeah, good points.
what ifs and who knows, but we
Okay.
need to find out because I think that should be the next fight for that weight division.
I totally agree. I think that we should stick a pin in this conversation and talk about UFC at the end, and we'll get into some of the other stuff that we want to talk about. Should I talk about Canmore? I went to Canmore for a week. It was awesome. I don't have much to say about it. The food is delicious. The houses there are so gorgeous. My favorite style of houses are like houses that have stone and like wood kind of together, like
Mountain
craftsman mountain
places.
cabins.
Yeah, man.
It's like, they're just so beautiful to me. That's exactly the kind of house I would build if I had untold millions and millions of dollars. And I went and visited 2 of the like fanciest golf courses in Canada there, Silvertip and Stewart Creek.
Sick.
Both beautiful golf courses. Didn't golf. I didn't bring my golf clubs. I went with my family, and none of them were into playing. So, but I was just like walking around, just seeing people going out golfing. I was like, man, you guys are all so rich. I wish that I could like go on golf trips and play all the fanciest courses in the world all the time. I might play 1 or 2 fancy courses a year, and I just, I'm jealous of the people that get to play them all the time.
Yeah, I hear you.
So yeah, Canmore was pretty fucking awesome, and I don't know. I've been reevaluating. I'm coming up on 40 here, midlife crisis time, and kind of reevaluating my life and what I've focused on in my careers.
Yeah,
and just trying to think. I don't want to work anymore than I work. That's for sure. I want to work less than I work, so I can spend more time with my family.
Yeah.
But I want to earn like double and triple the amount of money that I earn, so that I can afford to do all the things that I love to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm kind of trying to think about what is that
Might
career.
be a different path then, or something. Hey?
I don't know. It's not. Yeah, it's certainly not in the path that I'm currently in.
I mean, you have pretty great experience. You can
Yeah.
definitely parlay that.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Depends what you want to like.
That's what I'm
you've
trying to
talked
think
about
about.
this before. It's what you want in your life too. Like a lot of these higher paying jobs involve dedicating
Yeah, travel, being gone.
a lot more of your time.
Yeah, 50-hour weeks.
And not just more of your time, but more involved amount. Like while you're more presence, I guess. Is,
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like you're more involved maybe than
Yeah.
you. I mean, I'm sure you're real involved now, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It's more heavy.
we'll see. I always kind of thought with my career in my store, I've always thought that maybe some of the other things that are my passions would eventually become my careers, like music
Mhm.
or like podcasting.
Yeah.
And if that could, somehow this podcast just goes bananas off the wall, and we start being able to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from podcasting.
Yeah.
That would be amazing, because it doesn't require the same kind of 40-hour commitment that my current job requires, 40 to 50 hours. Truth
I
be
mean,
told.
I feel like any podcast that really sticks to it for a long time, I mean, eventually they get there. So
yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's hopeless.
It's not hopeless. But it hasn't happened yet, I guess, is the big point. Same thing
No,
with
we're
music.
Not, we're not
Like,
fighting off the
you know,
sponsors.
I felt like I was, and it had a good trajectory with music, and I've talked about this on the episode. After I broke my back, I had the next albums planned, and I was like, okay, I know kind of what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of got disillusioned from not being able to do that because of money,
Mhm.
and trying to apply for grants and then not getting funding, and then being like, okay, now everything feels old, and I just want to do something different and new musically. And I don't know, I like playing with my girlfriend. Maybe that could become something, but I don't think that's ever going to lead to just, we're not going to become famous rock stars.
Do you think if you had limitless money to throw at that problem, that it could?
I think I could, if I had limitless money, I mean, I could make the albums, and I could, that would help me to be able to get more gigs,
Mhm.
and I'd be able to make a living, but I would make less than what I make managing a store.
Right. Yeah.
For
yeah.
sure.
A gigging musician.
Yeah.
Generally, what, like 40 to 50 a year, something like that.
If you're doing well, like even
Yeah.
more likely 20,
Mm.
5, 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar to a budding stand-up comedian, right?
Yeah.
You got to suffer a long time before it gets
Yeah.
anything.
Totally. And, you may never, a lot of my friends, just style-wise, there's not like folk stars the way there kind of was in the 60s. And,
Right.
yeah, it's just,
That's a different landscape.
it's so different.
Even the stars aren't really rich anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
It's
A lot
different.
a lot of bands, you'd be shocked to find out how much money they make.
Yeah.
How little money they make.
Well, these streams, right? Like
Streaming is
Portions of pennies.
streaming is crazy. I heard a statistic that like Pharrell for his song like Happy, that was a giant, massive, got like billions of listens through Spotify, and he got like $15 for that.
What?
Yeah, something that was absolutely crazy. Now it paid. Having that song and having that exposure paid for opportunities for him, got him gigs that he never would have got without that. So some of the streaming kind of pays in other ways, but it doesn't pay the way that album sales used to make musicians rich.
I guess the benefit is that it's easier for a musician to get their stuff heard. Maybe streaming, right?
Yeah.
To actual people.
And I mean, we've talked about this before too, but there's just so much content that no one really spends the time with, even artists that they like, people tend to not really spend a lot of time with them because they're on to something else that's new, that's also awesome and deserving of listenership. So it's hard to like fault people for that.
Well, I mean, every Friday I've got a new 50 song list of new songs
that
Spotify puts together for me.
Yeah.
I'm missing that's a fucking tip of the iceberg of what's happening.
Yeah. You're just, I can't believe how many new artists there are that like I find that I just hear a song, I'm like, oh man, this is a great song. Like I could get into this artist and probably, spend a lot of hours and hours and hours listening to I just went to this Justin Farron concert. I don't know if I talked about that in the last episode. My friend Scott Cook put on a kind of a house concert here in Edmonton and had this guy from California, Justin Farron, open for him. And he's just this brilliant songwriter, really, really, really good. One of my favorites. He wrote this song for his dog. His dog is out there chasing animals and killing them, and he felt like that amount of murder kind of wears on a person or an animal, presumably, and he wanted him to sleep better and have less guilt. So he wrote him this song, Sometimes I Like to Kill Things Too. And the whole premise of the song is like, hey, yes, you're out there killing things, but I also like. So here, I'll give you the first verse. The first verse is like, well, I saw you out the window with a bunny in your mouth, shaking him around till his guts fell out. And at first I was bummed, but you look so proud. Tail held high, tongue hanging out. And people say you're crazy and that I ought to put you down. You're dangerous to society that I shouldn't allow. But, what's the next words? I hear what they're saying, but to tell you the truth, sometimes I like to kill things too. I killed a bunch of tomatoes because I thought they'd look fine, mutilated to perfection on a pizza pie. And it's just like his grandma killed roses, and like, we killed spiders and insects kind of without even thinking about it. And it's all about like, sometimes you got to kill things to eat and to live. And so it finishes with, next time you got a critter in your killer crosshairs, and you're wondering how you'll answer to the man upstairs, know that if you're going to hell, I'll be there with you. Sometimes I like to kill things too.
Fuck, that's deep, man.
Great song.
Yeah, totally.
Really, really well written, and some of his like rhymes and his wordplay throughout it is really, really good.
Yeah. Oh, it resonates with me, man. I have to check my cat's mouth at the door every time, make sure there's not a fucking mouse in it before she comes in.
Yeah, that's gross. But then you don't have mice in your house, as long as you check them at the door.
Yeah, but sometimes she brings them in half alive still and they escape. And then the house is in an uproar until we find it.
Yeah. That's not good.
No, it's not.
All right, so let's get into Joe Rogan.
Let's do it.
Should we start with, I guess let's start with, I don't have a whole lot to say about Joseph. Joseph Ledoux. Yeah. Same last name. I wonder if he's related to famed bull rider Chris Ledoux.
I'm not sure.
Probably not.
I'm not sure that I listened to this one either.
Oh, no?
No.
To tell you the truth, I am like 9 episodes back. I listened to Dan Aykroyd today because I know you wanted to talk about it, and it was a great episode. Yeah. And other than that, the last one I listened to was Joseph Ledoux, which was like...
Well, you tell me the topic that he brings.
He's an American neuroscientist, and he wrote this new book called The Deep History of Ourselves, the 4 billion year story of how we got conscious brains.
Yeah, okay, I did listen to that
Long
one.
title.
Sometimes I listen to them in a bunch and I
Yeah.
barely catch their names as I'm going.
I love consciousness. So anytime someone's talking consciousness, like Sam Harris and his wife wrote this book, that's fantastic. And yeah, Sam, he's a neuroscientist as well.
Mhm.
He talks a lot about consciousness, and I just think it's so fascinating that we became conscious and self-aware. And he's talking a little bit about animals and how animals, they don't really have a sense of like self, and they're just they don't think like, oh, I would love to have some food because it would be delicious and I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
They just think, oh, there's food, and
I'm
they kind
hungry,
of
I
they
need
get
it.
it instinctually because they it's all based on survival and instinct.
Yeah.
And he's saying like, we know that there are these mechanisms, but because you can't prove that dogs have this same kind of sense of self, you can't attribute like to them things like emotions, like happiness. And I was talking to my girlfriend today, and we were walking. I'm like, it's not really provable that dogs are, because she was like, oh, dogs are, look how happy they are to be here at the dog park. And I was like, actually, I was just listening to this podcast, and the guy was saying that, because you can't really prove consciousness, and you can't really prove that they're happy. And I'm not saying that they're not happy. They sure seem happy because they have actions that you can see that we equate to happiness.
Yeah.
But it may not be. It is possible that,
Not necessarily happiness the way we see happiness.
no, and not even like happiness. Like
I think they feel good, but I don't know if it's happy. You know what I mean? I feel like they feel good when they've fulfilled their role that they think we require of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
But
It's,
there's dogs and there's dogs, man. They're so
it's
different
fascinating,
from one another. Like,
Yeah,
it's
true.
so hard to generalize
True,
like that.
and they're kind of the most, like with wild animals, you're way less likely to ascribe an emotion to them,
Right.
happiness or unhappiness.
Way more of
A
that
bear,
instinctual.
like is a bear ever happy? Like a bear is doing what it's doing based on instinct. It's saying there's a sexual partner, there's food, there's this, and it's like just going and doing the things that a bear does.
Mhm.
And it can certainly feel pain, I think, and sense danger, and like, but they're never really afraid. And that was one thing that they talked about a lot. The amygdala is kind of responsible for fear, but you need to have a sense of self. It's not to like for anxiety.
Mhm.
And like that he was saying, animals, without being really fully conscious, you don't have the same kind of sense of anxiety. You don't experience anxiety the same way. And yeah, I thought it was a fascinating conversation.
Yeah, well, they're going to act on instinct. They're not going to think about it the way we will and plan out an attack or, all of that, right?
Yeah.
It's instinct.
And they're not going to know that like, oh, like if I, like if I don't get out of here, I'm going to be dead. And they don't really see that kind of future. It's just like, it's all just instinct.
Yeah, I feel you. I wonder with dogs, because we feed them and take away their like need to survive and get their own food, that's what kind of makes them more like, I don't know, maybe they are sort of self-aware because they're not thinking about that constantly.
Yeah, well, we need to have language that in order for us to find that out.
God, I want to plug
We'd
a
need
thing
to
on
have
her-
a-
my
yeah.
dog's head so I can know what she's saying all the time.
Yeah. If they could come up with a language and we could understand, because they don't really even have a language that they understand. I don't think.
No,
They
but-
bark and it's like a signal, and then they act on instinct. I don't know that they're not really like communicating with each other.
Yeah, but don't you feel like at times you're literally communicating with your
I
dog?
sure do, of
Like,
course.
you definitely
and they
know what they want. And
Well,
you-
yeah, and they understand words. I'll be like, "Hey, get the ball, Dolly, get the ball," and she'll go and she'll pick up the ball because
Yeah.
she knows that the ball is. I say the word ball. That's the thing that she plays with.
Yeah, it's not so much language recognition as it's memory. Like it's
Yeah.
puts that sound with that thing, and
Yeah, I don't know.
But
And
I mean,
I'm
that's
not
still learning too, right?
for sure.
Fuck, it's so confusing.
And I'm certainly not saying that dogs don't experience happiness either. Like, and I
Yeah.
was saying that to my girlfriend too. She's getting mad at me. Like, of course they're fucking happy. Screw you. She told me the other day,
Yeah.
she's like, if Joe Rogan like taught university classes, like you could get your doctorate and you could get a PhD. I was like, I basically do have a PhD in Rogan. The
Yeah.
amount of hours that I put into listening is like the amount of hours that people put into like high level.
I'm a bro scientist at the very least.
Very least. But it's like, she thinks that it's not like, because I learn best kind of with auditory learning, like listening it just works better for me than reading.
Mhm.
And you know, for her, she learns better reading, and I don't know why.
It's
it
a
is that
switch.
way.
You know what? I actually used to have a hard time listening to audiobooks.
Oh, really?
Since podcasts and everything, I actually kind of have a hard time focusing on reading a book.
Yeah, it's different for sure. Like I read a lot less books. I might read 1 or 2 in a year.
Yeah.
But the last book I read, I do find that like the story, like if only like because I'm not reading books constantly. Like the last book I read was The Art of Racing in the Rain, and we all just went to all go see the movie that just came out, Art of Racing in the Rain,
Mhm.
and Angie and my mom and my sister, who I went with, they had all read the book also. But almost none of them could remember the points in the story.
Oh, really?
They were like, you know, and I think it's maybe partly because they all read, like, my mom will read 30 books in a
Okay.
month. You know, she reads a book a day pretty regularly. Sometimes she might spend 3 or 4 days on a book, but, like, that's rare.
I've found when I'm into a book and I read it like that, I'm missing parts of it
Yeah?
because you're so excited when you're reading. You're almost like looking at paragraphs as a whole. You know what I mean? Like you're like picturing each. I don't know how to. You're not as deeply reading it as if you were like doing schoolwork and you're like absorbing a textbook.
Fair enough.
You're flying over it, I think, and that's why you're not absorbing it as much.
I don't read like that. I tend to read like I'm hearing an audiobook in my head.
Yeah.
So you know, typically like, if I read a book in 3 or 4 days, that's pretty quick. I'll usually spend like a week, and like a week of like reading for
Mm-hmm.
maybe half an hour a day or 45 minutes. That's about all I can take. I'm like,
Where an
fuck this.
audiobook, if you're allowed to still use your hands, you can kill a book in a day, no problem.
Oh yeah, because for sure.
That's the other thing I'm so fucking distractible. Like it's hard to actually read a book without like stopping to do something else.
Yeah, well, and it's hard to commit that time, you know, because you do have things you got to do. I did a shit ton today of yard work. I mowed my lawn. I did all the weed whacking of all the grass all along the fence and all around, and a bunch of cleaning inside. My stupid dishwasher has got water sitting in the bottom of it now for the last couple of days. So I'm pulling it apart, trying to find where the clog is, and so yeah, I worked on that for a while. It's a bit of a shambles, and I'm sure my girlfriend will not be apt to get home to that. But
Just a ripped apart plumbing mess.
hopefully she doesn't touch any of it because it's all I've got all the pieces in an order that I know where they are and how to put them back.
It's gonna find them in a box when you get home.
That would not be good. Yeah, she's like, I cleaned up all the dishwasher pieces. I would say, okay, you're buying a new dishwasher. Thanks.
It's time.
Anyways, so that was 1344. Definitely recommend the episode. It's a great conversation and fascinating, especially if you're into, you know, thinking about consciousness and thinking about how that came to be.
Yeah, I still think who knows if we even fucking know if they're conscious or not. It's kind of arrogant to assume we're the only things conscious on this planet.
Truth.
So I decided to talk about Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, 1351.
Doesn't need much of an introduction.
No.
He's a Canadian-born actor, obviously, though.
Yeah, comedian.
Born in
comedy
Ottawa
actor.
in 1952.
Yeah.
He's famous for movies like Blues Brothers, Coneheads, Ghostbusters 1 and
Yeah.
2.
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live is a staple from 73 to 2013.
Yeah.
I think I read he did 97 different episodes of Saturday Night Live. He's in the upcoming Zombieland 2, and if you saw Zombieland 1, you know that's a fucking funny movie, and it's great.
Shit, yeah.
So I'll be looking forward to what his role is in that. Bill Murray had sort of that really sweet cameo in the first one, so I wonder if it'll be something like that.
And they're making a new Star Wars Ghostbusters too.
That's true, yeah.
With that he's going to
2020.
be in,
And it sounds like the original cast.
yeah, along with the new cast as well.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
That'd be totally good.
I'm into that.
What
Paranormal Activity as well. Remember he hosted, like, I think it was called Paranormal Activity.
Really?
He's big into, obviously they talked a lot about aliens.
That's what I took away from him. He's a conspiracy nut.
Yeah.
He
And
believes everything.
He did host a series where they talked about like aliens and ghosts and all that shit.
I vaguely remember that too.
Yeah.
He's always been a little on the fringe.
Yeah.
He's been well out of the mainstream for quite some time.
I thought it was
now.
fascinating. He was saying that he wrote Ghostbusters
Mhm.
because like that was a part of his youth growing up. His like parents would have like seances and they'd bring their regular witch doctor
He
over.
believes
Essentially,
he's seen ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
totally. And
On that subject, man, I grew up like that too. My mom very firmly believes she's seen ghosts.
Oh yeah,
very firmly.
and what does she believe that they're there for a reason, or
No, she just has been scared and with situations. Like I can tell you one, when I was about 6 years old or something like that. We used to live in this townhouse where some of the basements or the bedrooms were in the basement and one was upstairs. But my mom was the only one upstairs at the time. But she went to bed, pushed in all the chairs into the table, cleaned up like she always does, goes into bed, and she hears this fucking racket. She comes out and she says, I don't know why she would lie to me. This is not her thing to lie.
Mm-hmm.
She found all the chairs on top of the table. She came out in the kitchen literally 5 minutes later.
Sure.
Unless I was sleepwalking.
And she had been drinking while taking Ambien at the time.
My mom, no Ambien, I don't think, but
No?
maybe a little bit of the happy sauce.
Yeah, maybe an accidental Ambien was in, some Ambien got mixed in with the Tylenol.
Yeah.
Or something like, of course,
Putting
my
chairs on a
instinct.
table seems like you're going to wipe the floor, right?
Yeah. My instinct is that she did it and she didn't remember that she did it.
Yeah, me too.
She may very well believe that it was a ghost but human memory, as they talked about in this episode, and it comes up regularly on the podcast, human memory is one of the least reliable forms of evidence of anything.
And on top of that, our imaginations are so fucking powerful.
Yeah.
We can create things
Yeah.
that aren't there.
Yeah. There's a lot of times where I've done things that I didn't remember doing at all.
But have you ever been like frightened? Where you thought that there was some
don't think-
otherworldly thing happening?
Not from any paranormal
I definitely have
stuff.
been. But you can almost always attribute it to something else. Like,
Yeah. I would be way more frightened that something like normal would be like a a serial killer or like some kind of gang violence, something like that. That's I've been frightened of those things, but I've never been frightened of like aliens or anything paranormal.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten hinky feelings. I kind of believe in energies. I
Sure.
think places have energies where
Sure.
fucked up things have happened.
Yeah.
I believe in
Haunted
that.
houses. Did you watch that House on Haunted Hill, the series on Netflix?
The new one? Yeah, fuck yeah.
That was a great
show's
series.
Good, man.
Yeah, I was trying to think of another like horror series, and they just don't exist. They don't.
No.
They're so good at making like series now. I would love to see an HBO horror series. I guess there's True Blood.
Well, there's American
is
Horror
kinda-
Story.
Yeah, that's true. American Horror Story. Some of those have been really good.
I
too.
saw the first season. I didn't see most of that.
The first
show.
season was a haunted house, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the second season, I think there was a season of witches, and
Yeah, it got a little hokey, I felt like.
yeah,
I did.
first
feel.
season was really good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned True Blood there too. That's
Yeah.
a funny one.
Yeah.
That's probably one I don't know if I could watch if I watched it again.
I liked it. I remember it was on. There's titties, and it was.
Oh
like-
yeah.
It was a cool kind of premise
Yeah.
that vampires are living amongst people now, and they've got this blood that isn't human that they can survive on.
Yeah.
So there's like hey, vampires, are just people too.
That
they're
opening
not killing
sequence was
people.
fucking unreal. That's one thing HBO
Did a bad,
nails.
bad thing.
Is fucking great opening sequences.
No, it's, I want to do bad things with you.
Yeah.
That's
But like the whole bayou, seeing rotting
Yeah.
things in the swamp
Oh, yeah.
and all that shit is fucking great.
That's when on and you came in.
Yeah.
So
So fucking dark and
yeah.
yeah.
That was great credit sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something for sure that they are great with.
Yeah.
HBO
Or the Game of Thrones sequence, man.
Oh yeah,
I've
Game
seen
of
that
Thrones,
thing
Awesome.
fucking 100 times. I could still watch it every time
Yeah.
I watch the show. I watch
Yeah.
the full sequence.
For sure. I'm just in the middle of rewatching the Deadwood series right now.
Oh, it's a sick
And
show
that
too.
is a great. Yeah, the horse running through the old timey town. Fucking Ian
Does that hold
McShane.
up? Did you watch it
Oh,
when it
yeah.
first came out?
I did, and it holds up. I watched the first episode. There's things that happen in the first episode that I would have thought it was the whole series spanned through, just some of these plot points.
Yeah.
And it just so perfectly introduces all the characters. Now that I know the characters, really well, rewatching it and watching that first episode, I was just marveling at how good it is.
Yeah.
And Timothy Olyphant. Did you watch Once Upon a Time in?
Not
in
yet. Not yet.
Hollywood?
I gotta see
No,
it. But
eh?
I haven't seen it yet.
Did you listen to the podcasts where they kind of spoil a little bit of it?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of spoilers about it.
That's too
actually.
bad. That's too bad. I didn't want some of the podcasts with I'd had to turn off the Tom Papa one,
Mm.
and I think he was talking to Brendan Schaub about it too, and I'm just like immediately as soon as I hear it come up, I'm like la 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 la, stick my fingers in my ears and turning off the podcast.
I think every fucking podcast I listen to has brought up that movie in the last month.
it's a great movie. I loved it.
I believe it. I'm going to see it.
I was a huge fan.
Yeah. We haven't had movie going funds lately, but I'll be watching it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I forget what I was even going to say about that, but it's Timothy Olyphant is in the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he's the star.
He's a great actor too.
He's great, yeah, and he's also on. I'm trying to catch up on Conan O'Brien's podcast. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And he was on like the most recent episode of that I listened to, which is an old episode, but great. He's just so good on it. He's really funny.
Nice. I should check that podcast out.
It's a good one. But it's like makes you want to listen to all of them, and then you're like, there's fucking 100 hours.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
too many to listen to them all.
It's impossible.
Yeah. I guess the last point about Dan Aykroyd, I didn't know this. He fucking created and owns that Crystal Head vodka.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
And it comes in a skull,
head.
right?
Yeah, just like from Temple of fucking Skulls or whatever that last one was. The crystal skulls, the Indiana Jones shit.
Yeah, I remember. I liked that one. People complained that it was too hokey.
It's pretty
CGI'd
up.
Have you seen any of the other Indiana Jones? The
problem is it just had all that CGI before we were ready for all that CGI.
Maybe
it'd be better now, probably.
I don't know.
I
liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. Shia LaBeouf was a believable son.
Totally.
He looked like him. Yeah. That fucking vodka, I guess he uses glacier water from Newfoundland or something.
Oh, okay.
It sounded real gimmicky. His whole pitch.
Yeah.
Really gimmicky.
I'd like to try it.
Maybe and then he pours the vodka through some like quartzy diamond type things.
Yeah.
I can't see how that does fuck all.
Gives it crystal powers.
He said that people have taste tested and it tastes better with the crystal pour.
Sure.
But I thought it was cool. It came from all these different things, and it's related to his fucking sci-fi shit. So.
Yeah. Maybe when we do our taste test of the proper whiskey, we
found it, by the way.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
in Edmonton.
Yeah, I didn't have enough to buy some at the time. All they had was a 2.6, and it was like fucking $40.
$40.
I mean, it's not that expensive.
That's pretty reasonable.
I'm kind of a cheap ass. I literally didn't have $40 at the time.
No, that's fair.
But I think next podcast I will.
I bought a 40 ounce of Weiser's whiskey today for $30.
Nice.
Yeah, that's. I mean, usually, around $1 an ounce is pretty good.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I try to buy. I like Crown Royal a lot. Good Canadian whiskey.
Yeah.
And I try to buy it when it goes on sale for $26 for a 2.6 or whatever.
You have decent like whiskey drinking glasses.
Oh yeah, I got.
When we get this proper 12, we have to do it the way they do it.
No, I got the like snifters that you see everyone use for like Scotch tasting.
Is it bitch to put ice cubes in there?
Well, it changes it. You taste it less because of the cold. But a lot of times adding like a drop or a few drops of water also brings out like some of the sweeter notes. So it really a whiskey can change in its taste drastically based on adding water. And that's one thing that obviously putting ice cubes in, it gets water in the whiskey as well. But the cold makes you taste it a lot less. So some whiskeys that are like really, really harsh definitely are better.
I have a strong feeling I'm going to want ice cubes.
Yeah. Well,
but
to small sips too is the other.
But we'll try it both ways, I think, because if we're going to buy a bottle, we're not going to let it go to waste.
Oh, definitely.
So
yeah, I think
probably get
at first,
up.
we'll try it just neat, and we'll swish it, and we'll smell it, and then we'll taste it, and then we can talk a little bit.
It'd be nice to actually have a little bit of Jameson too, just to compare.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not that good at drinking either, so that could end quicker than I think.
Well, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
All right, should we kind of run through a little bit more of the UFC?
Let's do it.
That China, so there's a fight night, Jessica Andrade versus, I wrote her name down, Zhang Weili?
Yeah.
Weiling.
Weili. Yeah.
Zhang Weili.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remembered the Zhang, though.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. You'd never guess that's how you say it.
No. So that was an amazing fight.
Oh, fuck.
Ended in like 90 seconds and super decisively. Zhang's striking she put it away.
Out of this world.
Elbows and it seemed like everything was landing exactly on the button. And it was like she had knees, she had good clinch work, she was throwing elbows, throwing like hooks and punches and uppercuts.
Yeah.
It was
Not to take anything away from that performance, but do you think that maybe Andrade didn't show her any respect and maybe wasn't expecting to get bully beat down like that?
Maybe.
She just kind of walked in and started swinging.
yeah, and
Didn't block
Andrade tried to
anything.
get her bearings and but just wasn't able
She
to.
got fucked up.
Yeah,
That was rough.
it was a swarm, and she was not prepared for it. For
And
sure.
Andrade has been dominating.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, just the champ.
yeah.
She destroyed Thug Rose.
I know. I'm glad someone whipped her because I love Thug Rose.
Yeah.
But now, like, do we see Rose? Maybe
I think we'll see Rose now, especially that Andrade has been taken down.
You think that we'll see Rose get a title shot next with this Wei Ling, or do you think we'll see Rose and Andrade rematch,
I think I want to see that rematch before I see either of them get another title shot.
and then Rose versus Wei Li for the
Yeah.
hopefully.
I don't see Andrade deserving that rubber match because she's not defended. She only had it the one time
Yeah.
and never defended.
I
So
agree.
I don't think you get a rematch just because of that.
Great fight though, listeners. Go watch it if you can. And then that's the only fight that we watched from that card. I hadn't watched it before. You had watched it, and you said that was really
Just
the
for
only one.
expedience sake, we had to get through
Yeah.
242 as well.
Yeah. So then we watched every fight on the 242 card, which pinnacled with Khabib and Poirier.
Yeah.
I do have it pulled up on my computer here. I'll tab to the card here because I don't remember things.
Nice.
So it started with Fajea, Carlos Diego Fajea, and Maribek
Ties him off.
ties him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, good fight.
Pretty good.
Went to a decision, round 3. Pretty easy to see that Fajea was going to win that one.
Yeah. Ties him off had him in trouble a little bit in the first round, but
Yeah.
he definitely pushed through it,
Absolutely.
pushed the pace.
And then the next one was Curtis Blades versus God Christ, I don't Shamil.
God, I can't remember.
Abarakamov. I don't know. Bearded Russian guy.
No disrespect, Russia.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't come kill our family.
This, there's way too many, like, when they always have K's and H's, like, all together, and I have no idea what that's supposed to say.
One of the obs.
Anyways, Blades very, very handily won second round. Landed an elbow while on top that just opened up.
Nasty.
Was that right? Yeah, it was an elbow, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Just a perfect. It
right on
looked
the
like he was
nose.
holding his face with his one hand
Yeah.
and just planted
and
it
the
right
sound
on his
of
fucking
it
nose.
when we watching it live, you could hear it. Just it sounded like somebody landing a flush punch from
It was rough.
like a flush overhand right.
Yeah.
It was super loud.
He actually had him pretty much beat in the first round. Like,
Yeah.
Buddy didn't know whether the round ended or he lost the fight.
Yeah,
So-
totally. Yeah, it was very, very decisive.
Yeah.
Then Islam Makhachev.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I said that right.
Of Conor Khabib fame.
Yeah, he was in the ring there at the end.
Either threw punches or got punched. One of those things happened.
Maybe a bit of both.
I'd have to run it back, but I'm pretty over that situation.
He fought Davi Hamos Hamosh. I forget how to say it. He's Brazilian. It's
They were saying,
R-A-M-O-S.
yeah, they were saying Hamosh.
Hamosh, I
For
think,
some
right?
reason, there's an H on the end of
Davi
that.
Hamosh, but it's not. There is no H.
No.
Yeah,
That's
well.
what I'm doing. They just make sounds how they want. I
Yeah,
think.
it could be that they weren't pronouncing it right. I don't know. It's tough. Tough pronunciation's not really
Yes.
anyone's strong point.
No. It's Brazil makes it extra hard though.
They do. Yeah, they make it tough. Yeah, that fight was fine. Nothing super memorable.
No, it won't
there.
blow your hair back, that's
No.
for sure.
It was a little bit of a sleeper.
Yeah.
But definitely I agreed with the decision to give it to Islam
Yeah.
Makhachev.
Their styles, like they were saying, the commentators were saying the styles kind of canceled each other out. So
Yeah.
you weren't seeing their best.
Yeah, they kind of both were counter strikers. And,
Yeah.
and we're waiting. Then awesome fight, Paul Felder, Edson Barbosa. And this one was a bit of a baffler when they got to it was a super close fight all the way along.
Yeah.
I thought that Barbosa probably won the first round. I'd have to rewatch it, I guess. And I've never actually gone through and really tried to fully score.
Yeah, we really
a fight.
hate on these judges, but I
We
bet
do.
it's really fucking hard.
It is. But, I kind of, when I watch a fight and a round, I just have a feeling for who I felt won the round.
Yeah.
And that's usually what I kind of go by.
Yeah, me too.
Based on damage, kind of most but also based on like who seems to be landing
Who's
more.
controlling?
Yeah. And this one, when it came to the decisions, one judge had it 30-27 Barboza every round for Barboza, and then another judge had it 30-27 for Felder every single round for Felder, and then another judge had it 29-28. Which is what I thought. The last 2 rounds, I thought Barboza maybe had the first round, and then Felder, I thought for sure had the last 2. But he did. Barboza landed 2 takedowns in those second and third rounds where you're like, oh my god, and one in the last like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
But both of the takedowns, he did absolutely nothing with them.
Well, the first takedown, he got lit up with elbows.
The first takedown, he took about 7 elbows, and it opened up a big cut that was bothering him the rest
he
of
was
the fight.
like visibly hurt too. Like he kind of stopped doing anything on the ground and started holding his head.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, but if you're just scoring takedowns as being worth, it seems like they're worth more than just like a strike,
which
like
is fucking
a clean
crazy.
Strikes landing. No, because you're putting someone in a position that like, okay, now the success of getting the takedown is that now you have the ability to either submit them or to land ground and pound.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be worth points. It should be worth you being able to do those things. If you get the takedown and you can't do those things, then yeah, it shouldn't be worth any points to me. That's my feeling.
I agree.
On it.
Yep.
So yeah, it was crazy to see the variance in the judges scoring.
No, it's a problem for me, man. Like
that is a big issue.
They should be very similar decisions.
Yeah,
they should be like very barely like any difference.
Yeah, I love how Rogan talks about how Eddie, when he had a system for scoring it where he would like make marks for all the different kinds of strikes.
Yeah,
and then have notes for the problem is it's hard to tell sometimes how much damage something has done because of course the fighters are keeping poker faces. It's not like they're saying, oh, that one hurt me 15%. It's like so it is hard to tell, and it's for sure how judging like a lot of the ground stuff is really difficult as well. I wouldn't be able to do maybe even a better job than I don't know. Hard to say. Sometimes I feel like I could do a better job than some of the judges
for sure.
But I'm sure I would make mistakes as well if I was there. But I really feel like we just need a lot more judges. I feel like there should have the 3 ringside and then have maybe 3 more that are just somewhere in the building watching on monitors, and then have another set of 4 or 5 or 3 that are outside of the building that are just watching, and then maybe have like a component, like a fan component where the fans can weigh in on what they think.
Yeah, I agree.
And have that be worth like, I don't know, 5% or something really low.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck, man. I think a lot of times the fans are more educated than the judges.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the co-main event. I was cheering for Felder, but I had a feeling he was going to get head kicked and just kicked into oblivion. And some of those like turning heel kicks, oof,
oh my god,
landed to the body. He landed a few like kind of I don't know what it would be, a snap kick. He landed a bunch of different kicks to the body on Felder that like were really loud and so fast.
Yeah,
like, there's no way he had any time to like to block it or counter. And then the Khabib Nurmagomedov, I can do that one.
Yep.
Versus Dustin Poirier. That was a fantastic fight and just a clinic by Khabib, as we said.
As before with Conor, I was very much hoping Poirier was going to slay the dragon this time. But, didn't happen.
No.
And
I liked Nurmagomedov's kind of speech afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty humble, and he was saying a lot of like, hey, like, what did he say? He called Conor. He was like, the last guy was the bullshit guy. We don't need about that. We just do fighting about respect, about the gym, and I agree with him about that. It's not, but it also, I'm a little torn, kind of the way Rogan is too, because it is fun the shit talking is a fun part of it.
The pure MMA fan in me definitely likes what Khabib's saying.
Yeah, agreed. It is about competition, and you should respect each other both, and you should have respect for the skills and for the art itself. But also, I like a little shit talking.
But when that shit talking's so good, like when Conor does it, and then he goes and mollywobs a motherfucker after. Oh my god, it's so satisfying.
So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, but great fight.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, Shane. That's it. We're like an hour-ish in here. What are we at? Let me take a look. It's been going for 54 minutes.
Nice. That's a good amount of time.
Yeah. So we'll end it here. Thanks again, everyone, for listening.
Yep.
Go to our website and then click on the Amazon link, and maybe we could have some of your money. That'd be awesome. Or just like send us money somehow.
Yeah.
E-transfer to the Rogan Report at gmail.com.
Gmail.com. Yep.
The
Send
Rogan-
your questions,
Yeah.
comments. You want to call me a cunt? Go
Do that.
ahead.
Yeah.
My
Follow
feelings
us
don't
on
get
the
hurt that easy. Go ahead and try.
Go to the social medias, search the Rogan Report. It's like it says the Rogan Report. It's a picture of a brick wall with some little like Easter eggs hidden
Yeah.
in it. So that's kind of a fun. I like that logo. I think we did a good job with that.
Yeah, it's neat.
You guys aren't appreciating it enough.
No, we're doing this. We're working. out
Yeah.
here. We're fucking sweating.
Exactly. Yeah.
Show us a little love, right?
We didn't mention it was 120 degrees in that
That's fucking
that
crazy.
Coliseum that they built
Yeah.
just for the UFC. I mean, I'm sure they're going to use it for other things afterwards, but this was its first kind of test ride, and it was they kept talking about it all the time. But oh my god, it's fucking hot in here.
Yeah. On that note, though, I actually do want to say thank you because even through these long layoffs between episodes, each episode's getting listened to more than the one before.
Yeah,
it. So
that is awesome.
that's
you know,
fucking really
we had
awesome
that
to see.
technical trouble there with some episodes not being uploaded correctly, and some like just technical problems with the files being ridiculous. I don't even know what the issue was.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we've got that sorted now, and they'll be able to upload every single time we try.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely be on it. I won't be letting it go
Yeah.
through without me on notice. That's for sure.
Right on.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you again soon.
See ya.
Hey there, Joe Rogan, super fan. This podcast is for you, my man. Or woman, or non-binary. Our recaps will be legendary. The Rogan Report podcast. Come on, you'll have a blast at the Rogan Report podcast.